Hi, thank you for taking the time to watch through this. We are finishing up the semester, which is hard to believe. But I do want to just address a couple of quick points, somewhat quick points, that have come up as we've been doing revisions of our papers. The informal language, a number of you have gotten this informal language written on your paper. And I know we've talked a lot in class about what does it mean to not use you, what does it mean to avoid contractions, but what's really going on with informal language? So I wanted to take some time to just talk about what it is that we're trying to avoid as writers and why. So the first thing to talk about is something we talked about in class. There's nothing bad about informal language. It's completely a setting issue. It's like wearing your sweatpants or your jeans, or your comfy boots, or things like that around the house, and maybe out with friends. Um, if you're doing something that's comfortable and natural, why not? Especially this time of year if it's warm. But if you've been invited to something fancy, like prom, that's going to require a totally different set of attire. You're not going to want to wear the same comfortable outfits, your sweatpants, comfy boots, that you would wear around the house or out with friends to something formal like prom. And that's kind of what's going on with your academic paper. You may be doing the basics when you're writing the first few drafts. They might still have sort of the comfy language attire. But as you go on, you want to make sure that you're smoothing it out, polishing it up so that what you end up with is something that is more like a prom gown or a tuxedo. Um, when we are writing our papers, when anybody, you, me, any writer writes a paper, it's going to sound a lot like how you talk. And very few people actually talk in a formal standard English dialect. It's kind of an academic tongue that everybody learns. Some people get it. I mean, the more you read, the more you're going to feel comfortable talking. And the more instinctively you'll think that way. But some things that you could start off with. That's a big one for our class. So we've talked about this. What's happening if I write, you feel this, and you read it? You kind of look at it and you're like, well, I don't know if I feel this. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Kind of depends on the mood. The question really is, who are you actually talking about? Who are you actually talking about? Are you talking about me specifically, Professor Kearney, or are you actually thinking of a generic person? And if you're thinking about a generic person, like who? Is it a student? Is it a specific sort of example? Now, the example that's coming along with this asks who is the real subject. And the example I wrote was sometimes you have to take a study break to dance outside in the snow. Well, that may be true, actually. I legitimately might need a study break to dance outside in the snow. But my suspicion in that particular case would be that the person was thinking about students. So instead of you have to take a study break to dance outside in the snow, it would be sometimes students have to take a study break to dance outside in the snow. Okay, another example. When you meet a dapperly dressed vampire, you should assume it's Halloween before worrying. Well, okay. I think you're thinking of someone specific. When I meet a dapperly dressed vampire, I assume that it is Halloween before worrying.